नमस्कार हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हिमालय टेलिभिजन स्वागत चाहन्छु कार्यक्रम गेस्ट इन टाउनमा आज गेस्ट इन टाउनमा हामीसँग युजुअली हामी जसरी कार्यक्रममा तपाईलाई रोहन श्रेष्ठले लिएर आउनुहुन्थ्यो त्यसरी नै म फ्रेशका उदासले पनि लिएर आएको छु एकजना गेस्ट जो हाम्रो टाउनमा हुनुहुन्छ अनि उहाँलाई लिएर चाहिँ हामी युजुअली कन्भर्सेसन गर्ने गर्छौं अनि पर्सपेक्टिभ चाहिँ बुझ्छौं डेफिनेटली यहाँ आउनुको प्लस मच मोर एन्ड हामीसँग आज एकदमै स्पेशल गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ उहाँ स्पेशल गेस्टसँग कुराकानी चाहिँ हामी हिमालय टेलिभिजन मार्फत चाहिँ गर्नेछौं Well, I would like to introduce you to the guest who we have today. Uहाँ a very special guest. Ani आउनु भएको छ. He's been traveling, so अलिकति hectic भए पनि he's definitely all set ready to give us his interview. We have John Oommen. So John Oommen हुनुहुन्छ हामीसँग, the head of Pessenger Vehicle International Business, and I'd like to welcome you to the show. Welcome to the sir. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Prashka. Thanks for having me.
How's you feeling? You're in Nepal. How are you feeling right now?
Well, it's Nepal is always an exciting place to come back to. In fact, it is gaining in importance for us. So it is a growing market, and we have no doubt that given what we've seen so far this year, it is really slated to surpass our expectations in terms of the automobile market growth.
Yeah, so whenever like it's a launch again and you're here, and it's a pleasure that you're here today, and it's a pleasure at Himalaya TV as well that we're interviewing you. With that, the launch of Tiago, so how do you take Tiago from your perspective? Like,
well, I must maybe step back a bit just to tell you that Tiago is part of a transformation journey that began at Tata Motors nearly 3.5 years ago, and a hatchback segment in Nepal with the Tiago. And the reason why we are so confident about that is that this is a car which has many firsts when it comes to technology, when it comes to design, and of course the quality that you will see in the car. So for us, it is a major step in our transformation journey, and we are very confident that it is a car that will capture the hearts of the Nepali customer.
So personally, sir, I would just like to ask, which car do you ride?
Which car do I ride? I actually try and drive as many cars as possible. That's part of my business. So currently I use an Aria, but I make sure that I keep changing and driving all the cars that we make, and sometimes even the competition make.
So in terms of pricing and features, how would you want to like position Tiago in terms of Nepali market as well and as a whole?
Yeah, well, on the price, I think we'll hear in a short while, so you'll have to hold your curiosity for just another couple of hours. But I think what I'd like to say is this is a car which will offer more features than the segment higher in terms of size, in terms of power, etc. And it'll be priced closer to the segment lower. So it'll be somewhere between the low and mid hatch segment in Nepal in terms of positioning. What I mean by that is it'll offer a lot more value for the hatchback buyer because it offers features and bells and whistles in the car which are otherwise not seen in the segment that it belongs to.
And in that perspective, like bringing Tiago, how much it is going to be like, in your perspective, beneficial to Tata Motors, or how is the significance related? How do you see it?
Well, as I mentioned, I think today we are seeing a very substantial growth in the total industry volume in Nepal. If I were to see performance this year versus last year, our presence in the hatchback segment is limited currently to the Tata Bolt, which is also a very recent launch and has sold very successfully. We have had a lot of customers buying the Bolt and the Zest, which was launched just a few months before that. The Tiago is really an addition to our presence in the hatchback segment, because we see that this is one of the segments that is slated for high growth in the months and years to come in Nepal.
And like if you see other cars in competition, which do you think are the other cars that will compete with Tiago?
Well, in terms of purely, shall I say, size and power performance, the car would be closest to models such as the Grand i10 from Hyundai or the Celerio from Suzuki. But I must say, and this you will find out for yourself later today, ours is a vehicle that clearly has far more equipment, far more features, far more options in the car compared to these vehicles. So in that sense, it would be wrong to compare because our car has features that actually are available in a segment higher. So we are really trying to therefore redefine the way the customer looks at this segment.
All right. And I was really excited when I got to know the brand ambassador for this, like Messi. So how did this thing come up and how, like?
Well, I think, from our perspective, we felt that traditionally we were catering to customers that were, let's say, more traditional in their outlook, more traditional in their mind space. And as we are set on launching a whole new array of products which are extremely contemporary and in fact cutting edge, we felt that one of the qualities that was missing from the brand in terms of perception by customers was cool, young and trendy. We were seen as being a pioneering brand. We still are because there are many firsts to the Tata Motors name. But cool and trendy and young was something that was missing. So when we evaluated the whole area of how we can get these values attached to us in a short span of time, in a relatively short span of time, Messi came up as an obvious choice in terms of the qualities that he himself endows.
And if, like, just you had to explain in your own words, in just a word or two, how would you define Tiago?
It's fantastical.
It's definitely fantastical. And looking at the global business, like, how much does Nepal give, at least, like?
Well, it's a number that has been changing over the years. So very honestly, it's not been steady. And I think, as you're aware, last couple of years there were disturbances. One was a natural calamity, and then there were some issues relating to border movements, etc. So there have been some erratic growth trends there. But I'll only say that going forward, we expect Nepal to become a fairly strong contributor for Tata Motors international business.
Yeah, so talking about the growth of Tata Motors international business, how has the growth been like?
So I think over the last few years, we've actually been trying to see which are the markets where we need to focus most on. And we have really decided to enrich our focus on emerging economies, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And since this is a strategy which has just recently taken shape, because traditionally we were present in a variety of markets all over the world, we have seen fairly steady growth over a relatively small base, and we expect to be able to continue posting a fairly healthy growth in the coming years.
So with that positive thing, and towards Nepal as well, like every time you've been visiting Nepal, how much progressive do you see it, or like?
Yeah, so I think it's clearly a country which each time I visit, I see more and more activity, whether it is in terms of construction, whether it is in terms of, let's say, roads being developed, whether it is in terms of new buildings and new, shall we say, brands being introduced in the market. So I think it is definitely slated to become one of the key emerging economies in South Asia, and we would definitely look forward to being a part of that growth.
And being a part of that group, how would, what are your plans in terms of the market share in Nepal itself? Like, any further plans regarding it?
Certainly. I mean, I think we have a very clear intention of launching at least 2 new products every year in Nepal. And Nepal also has the very special distinction that it is typically the first market that we launch after we have launched in India. So it is a favorite for us, and we hope to be able to keep coming back more frequently with new and exciting launches.
And how do you see, as you said, the response has been good enough? I hope that's the reason that we always come as a part. Coming to this point, the progress that's been happening, and what kind of target group do you focus? Do we go to youngster kind of thing, or like?
I think that's a very interesting question, mainly because we actually have a fairly diverse product portfolio. So apart from the hatchbacks and sedans that we have with us, actually our traditional big seller has been a vehicle like the Sumo, which caters to a completely different audience, and we are actually a dominant player in that segment. So I think as a brand we are evolving to cater to both the needs of the young customer with products like the Tiago and other products like the Bolt and Zest, and with products like the Sumo, we will be catering to certain or playing to certain commercial strengths that we have as a brand in terms of fleet segments or mass transportation, etc. So we are looking at a fairly wide target audience when it comes to Nepal.
And it's very too early to ask about, but what is the other product that you're going to launch? Any hints for us?
I think what I can say is that our intention is to be actually present in as many segments within the car industry that is possible. So I would say that in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see launches from Tata Motors, not just in segments like hatchback and sedan, but other segments like SUVs, for instance. So we want to really broaden our product portfolio so that we are present across segments.
And on top of getting and knowing a little more about Nepal now, we've talked a lot about Tiago, but except that, how much do you enjoy being in Nepal? What is the essence and what do you love about Nepal?
Oh, I think what I love most is the people of Nepal. I think the sheer simplicity and the friendliness that I see every time that I come here is really very, very endearing for me. And I think for me it's a very, very intrinsic quality of the people in this country, and that's something I really look forward to each time I come here.
So when do you have other plans to come, except the launches and official visits?
Well, no, I really haven't had the opportunity of coming here on holiday, although I would love to one day. I've heard a lot about places like Pokhara, etc. But hopefully one day I'll make it there.
That means we have to wait for the tourist sector to move on from your side.
Sure, absolutely.
So it was really great talking to you, and we really wish you all the very best for the launch of Tiago. And not just Tiago, we really expect 2 in a year. That's what?
Yes, two a year. And I think we've already, in this year, this is actually going to be our second launch. No, sorry, this is the first one, but we should expect one
more this year.
Within this year. That's right.
It was really nice talking to you, Mr. Johny. Thank you so much for your time. Pleasure having you. Thank you. So it was a very wonderful talk, and it was a very good conversation indeed. Alikati formal, alikati informal, because being a part and coming to Nepal is always one of our aspects where we see as a part of tourism as well. तर त्यो भन्दा पनि the main concern today was the launch of Tiago. We would like to wish the entire team all the very best and congratulations for Tiago itself. It's fantastico. That's what I can say. Thank you so much for watching us. I'm Freshka signing off for now. Guest in town मा अर्को हप्ता नयाँ गेस्ट को साथमा हामी अवश्य पनि तपाईको साथमा हुनेछौं। त्यतिन्जेलसम्मको लागि म फ्रेशकालाई पनि बिदा दिनुहोस्। नमस्कार।